Welcome to this week's edition of Coach Prep. Coach Don and I are here in the Cherokee Batting Range podcast studio getting ready to record episode number 143. We have a really good discussion for you today about keeping our minds when everything around us dictates that we might want to amp up the pressure when we're going to some of these big tournaments and big events at the end of the year. But before we get into that topic, let's talk about our sponsors. First, the Anderson Bat Company. Everything Fast Pitch is very proud to have Anderson Bat Company as our presenting sponsor. Anderson Bat Company is using the latest and greatest bat technology to corner the market in the fast pitch world. They have the -9 Rocket Tech, the -10 Carbon, and the -11 Carbon Light. Anderson Bat Company is using this technology to put a high-performing bat in the hands of hitters that really know the difference between a good bat and a great bat. We're also working with Anderson to provide a discount for all of our listeners. Go to the Anderson Bat Company website and order your bats. Use the EFP20 discount, which is for everything fast pitch, and you'll get a 20% discount. It's a great way for you to save a little bit of money on a great bat and also help support everything fast pitch at the same time. Also, we want you to go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. We have a brand new patron, Travis Bryant. Thank you very much, Travis, for coming on board. If you see value in what we're doing, if you would like to help support Everything Fast Pitch and Coach Prep, go to patreon.com/everythingfastpitch. It's all explained to you there. There's 3 different levels of monthly support. Coach Don and I really can use and do appreciate the help. Everything about the podcast business costs us money. There's just no nice way to say it. We're happy that we get to spend time together every weekend, but if we didn't have the patrons we have, we would have been out of business months ago.
No, again, a lot goes into it, Tori, and you're sending T-shirts out. We've got a lot of service subscriptions that we've got to pay to stay online here, and everything helps. Yeah. So we need y'all.
Absolutely. So please go to patreon.com if you can and help us out. So, Don, it's the big event, whether it's the end of the summer, end of the season, and teams are getting ready to go wherever they're going to go. And obviously this year, even more so than most, the expense of these big end-of-the-year events, going to the World Series or the National Championships or whatever that event might be that your team is choosing to go to, has one undeniable difference to the vast majority of the stuff you do throughout the course of the year. The cost and the expense and what it takes for your team to get there, what they're paying for travel, what they're paying for hotels. Usually we're talking about, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days on the road, the missed time away from work, all the different things that go into it. You've got teams that are spending $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 for a big end of the year event
group, right?
As a group.
Yeah.
Not to mention the time away from home and all that other stuff that goes into it. And so for our coaches, here's the thing we want you to think about. We understand that that this is true, that everybody involved with your team, including you, is going deep to make this thing happen. You're going deep into your pocket. You're spending a lot of money to go. But now here's the thing. One option is I go and I continue to coach the same way I have. I have the same attitude I've had all year long. I treat it like it's just another tournament.
Same demeanor.
Keep that same even keel, rock steady kind of approach that I've had all year long. Or I can get amped up, get geeked up, get really fired up to do something different, to do something bigger, to do something better.
Try and be the fuel.
From a coaching perspective, to try to make sure that we all get our money's worth out of going to this big event. And I think you can tell from my little lead in that I think one is a whole lot better than the other. So, Don, what are your thoughts?
No, again, it's an exciting time because the kids have been talking about and running through it in their head of how they get to go to this big event. And so their excitement level's through the roof as well. But consistency is exactly what I think you were talking about, and trying to create an environment that they're going to be the most productive in. And that's going to be something that they're used to seeing. That's a starting point. If they get crazy, everybody gets crazy. If they're calm and collected, everybody's a lot more likely to stay calm and collected. So to your point, if we want to enjoy this event as much as we can and to get as much out of it for the investment, time, money, all the things that we've put into to getting there, I think that consistent approach, like you said, is going to be where we're going to have the most fun. And it's gonna be what it'll be. You don't know who you're going to get paired up against, and you don't know, how we're going to stack up skill-wise. But let's make it a fun event and not make it something different because we're different, right?
Yeah. Well, quick story. I had the good fortune for the vast majority of my coaching career that my wife, Terry, was my assistant coach. And the 2007 year that we've talked about a lot in the past when I was at Tennessee Tech, that was the year that we went to the regional. That was the one time that we did something amazing at the regional. We beat Alabama in the first game. So, when they were talking about Alabama's 40 whatever game winning streak in the regionals being broken this year when Stanford beat them, I would always, kind of have this glowing feeling because I knew that we were the 2000, we were the 2007 that they were talking about that got them. Now, of course, we were also numbers 3 and 4 in there, turning it around and starting that streak because they came back and rolled through the tournament and beat us twice on Sunday. But that year in our conference tournament, we had worked so hard to get to the NCAA tournament. We had done everything we possibly could, and we were playing a really good Jacksonville State team early in the tournament. In the OVC back then, if you won the regular season, you got to host the conference tournament. So I had spent all week getting ready for that, getting the field extra special, doing all this stuff to prepare for the tournament. And they knocked us off in our semifinal game. So then that meant that we were coming back. We had to keep winning to get back to the championship game. And we had a little bit of a break before the last game. We'd worked our way back to getting to play them again in the first of the 2 games we had to win. And we had a little bit of break, and Terry came up and sat down next to me and said, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" It's like, "Well, you're acting kind of like nervous, and I think the kids see it. I don't think that that's a good thing. I think you better get your together." Obviously, my first reaction was, what are you
talking about?
But knowing the situation and knowing that she wouldn't have said anything if it wasn't true,
right,
kind of got me to take a second, kind of collect my thoughts a little bit, and all of a sudden, instead of being nervous or worried or frustrated or whatever it was that I was displaying, because I certainly wasn't being the confident, hey, we've got this coach at that moment in time, gave me a chance to kind of get my act together. I don't know if it was 5% or 105% difference, but it was enough that our kids kind of relaxed and played better. And so we ended up rolling back through, ended up winning both of those games, won the what-if game on a amazing walk-off extra inning home run, to advance to the regional. And then, of course, that was when we beat Alabama. And so, having that person that I knew I could count on 100% to say, hey, you're the person that they're going to follow you. If you follow, if you set this example of nervous, scared, angry, disappointed, whatever it is, that's what they're going to do. And so that was just enough for me to check myself and to change my demeanor and make it easier for our players to play. Now, of course, they still had to go out there and play. But if I had kept going the way I was going, I might have been the anchor that pulled us to the bottom instead of, part of the lifeboat. So I think it's important for all of us as coaches to understand that the tone we set, the demeanor we bring to the ballpark is going to have a big factor in how our kids play. And if we get all amped up because, we've got to make something special happen, I've got to coach the best I've ever coached, I've got to do something extra special to make them play better, to trick them into playing better, chances are that's not going to work out the way we would want it to.
No, I like that that whole story, and it's true. Whatever you're feeling, everybody around us is probably feeling something very similar. And if we can figure out a way to calm things or to create a better productive environment, then that's gold for sure.
Right,
I love it.
And I think so for all of us now, as we're heading into the summer season, crazy as it is for some teams, their big end of the year event is not that far away. Coaches, start rehearsing in your mind, start planning it out for yourself, kind of have a plan in place of how you're going to manage this big event, and work on the idea of keeping yourself in check, keeping your emotions the same as they are all year long. Now, that doesn't mean you have to change anything. If you're an intense person, stay intense.
Yep.
If you're a laid back person, stay laid back. If you pat the kids on the back and tell them great job all the time, keep patting them on the back and tell them great job. Whatever your normal way of interacting with your team is, just make sure you pay attention to what that is. If it worked well enough that it got you to the Nationals, chances are you want to do the same thing when you get there.
Again, these are cool details that make a difference in the end, Tori. This is a great topic.
Yeah. And it's that little bit of a difference might make a big difference on the field. I talk to hitters all the time, and this is one of those things. If you're 5% distracted, that's a lot. If you're a little bit off, that could be a lot. If you are so tense that you lose 10% of your power, Well, 10% on the softball field could be 20 feet.
Yeah.
So if you hit 5 balls in a game that all come up on the warning track and you're 10 or 20% amped up or stressed out or distracted or whatever it is,
yeah.
that might be 3 home runs and 2 doubles if we were just playing our normal game, if we were just showing up our normal selves. Well, coaches, it's up to us to do everything we can to help our players just be their normal selves. They're already going to have a little bit of extra pressure on them, but if we add to it, that's just a disaster waiting to happen.
No doubt. No, I think that it's exciting times too. We got the championship stuff coming up a few weeks from now, and for many,
yeah,
and a month and a half from now for the others. But it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. So hopefully that will give you something to think about, coaches. We want to make sure that you're as prepared as you possibly can be. Coach Don and I always love talking about stuff that you're interested in. This one was suggested to us by Stan, who does a great job behind the scenes as our producer and technical support. So thank Dan, our producer, for coming up with this topic. But if you have ideas, things that you're interested in, make sure you let us know. We would certainly like to talk about stuff that applies to what you're going through and things that you're curious about from the world of coach. That's going to wrap up number 143. Please make sure you support our sponsors, the Anderson Bat Company and Patreon.com. And as always, go to the FastPitchPrep.com website. Order your Square Cuts training discs there. They're $49.95 a dozen. You can also have access to the website information. There's about 700 plus blogs. There's also a whole bunch of YouTube videos on our YouTube channel. So for Coach Don McKinley and our producer Stan Lewis, this is Coach Torrey saying thanks for listening. We'll talk to you again next week.